Welcome to another episode of Los Compadres Del Beis. Here today with us, we've got the usuals. We've got Bert, Ivan, and today along for the ride, my primo Felix.
That's what's up. You motherfuckers see me.
And here we are again to touch on a few of the more pressing issues in the world of base, a little bit of the hot stove, a little bit of the international flavor that's going on, and we'll touch on a few other things. We'll touch on some MMA, a little bit of football for you football fanatics right now, getting ready to go into the playoffs. But first and foremost, we want to touch on the biggest fish out there to be landed, coming from the country of Japan. Masahiro Tanaka is the biggest fish out there right now, a pitcher with a hell of a record. And to touch up on a little bit of what Tanaka brings is Bert.
Well, first I want to apologize that we didn't have video on the last episode. I may have dicked that up. And it's Los Compadres Del Beis.
I thought I was going to say
brothers.
Well, that's the football team.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, so Tanaka posted up 24-0 last year in the Japanese league. Is looking pretty solid, and it'll be a big pickup to anyone that will post up to $20 million just to talk to him, and then see what kind of deal he gets. They're guessing he did better than Yu Darvish, and Yu Darvish pretty much, if it wasn't for Trout, would have won Rookie of the Year. Was it Trout or was it this year? I don't know. But he's a solid pitcher, and he's got 4 great pitches. His bread and butter is his splitter. That bottom just drops right off of it, and it's a pretty sick pitch. And so the front runners right now are the Yankees and the Dodgers, which already the highest salary for any teams in baseball. They both are the only 2 teams that went over the salary or the luxury tax. So what do you guys think?
Well, I think that we can't say very much for his ability. I don't think that anyone can predict what a pitcher in any other league on the planet can do in Major League Baseball. So I think that's kind of a dead subject. I think the best thing to do is kind of predict and discuss where the hell is he going to land. And obviously the Dodgers and Yankees are going to be the 2 most rumored teams to land on, but I could see a couple of teams getting in the mix. I could really see the Angels getting in there, and I honestly could even see someone like Texas or the Seattle Mariners trying to make a splash and just come out of nowhere, and like there's a press conference like 3 days from now going, the Mariners just paid him $100 billion. It's something ridiculous like that.
But I think
there's going to be more than a couple teams.
I think the precedent's been set already, and especially with Yu Darvish. I mean, this is a guy who did very well in the Japanese league. I think the world is basically, you can't really say that the MLB is so far ahead of all of these other countries' baseball leagues, especially Japan. Yu Darvish dominated in Japan, and he dominated here in the U.S. Let's face it. I mean, his first year wasn't as strong as I think this year. I mean, he was just filthy. I remember getting stat alerts a couple times where he was carrying no-hitters deep into games.
I once took a no-hitter to the 6th inning in Sunday ball.
Well, especially with
I don't know if you remember that.
With the Baseball Classic, Japan has taken the last 2 years in the Baseball Classic,
exactly,
which proves that they got solid all-around players. Now, do they have the strength that the U.S. has as far as hitting home runs? Because
well, not even necessarily just U.S. I mean, we're talking the mixture, the melting pot of players around the world is what we have here in the major leagues.
It's true.
I mean, we've got the influx of all the Dominicans as well as Japanese and the American homegrown player. So, I mean, to compare, I think if anything, as the World Baseball Classic has shown us, Japan is definitely a force to be reckoned with, as well as the Dominican Republic. So I think what he's done, I think he's going to come in and he's going to do very well. The only thing that I think is going to hold him back is assimilating to the United States and dealing with these crazy bitches that there are around here. You know what I mean? These little sack chasers are going to be catching up, trying to trick him for $50, $60 here and there. That can mess up with you. I mean, you'd be like, I thought I was going to hit it. You get nothing.
You fuck around and show a fat bitch your dick once, dog. It ruins your life. It really does. I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, hot and heavy. Anyway, what I read is that his production level might falter just because of the years he's been pitching. How many innings he's already pitched at his age. So, depending on the kind of money they're going to give him in contract-wise, is he really going to be that productive into the end of his career? I mean, is he going to get that guaranteed money? How much are you guys looking at contract-wise?
What I've heard is, like, as far as, like, longevity of, like, the Asian pitchers is that they pitch they have a 6-man rotation, so they don't pitch as often. But what they do is basically almost every day on their day off, they're pitching. So they pitch more often than pitchers here. But, I mean, he's got a lot of innings under his belt. I think he's 25 years old.
He's
7
got
years.
1,500 innings pitched.
So to compare, I mean, Felix brings up a good point. Just by comparison, what did the Texas pitcher command? I'm guessing that Tanaka is going to command at least $100 million to begin. I mean, he is 25 years old. So how much did Darvish get for his initial contract? Let's look that up. But I think that the 6-man rotation is a solid point because I mean that's an extra day of rest. That's a big deal when you're taxing your arm to that extent. So we're looking up.
I'm also going to apologize. Sam
right
is
now.
usually the stats guy running the.
Dude, Sam's a magician.
Well, when you think about it, like the Japanese pitchers that have been in the MLB, like the frontline guys, I can't really recall one coming over and just totally breaking down. You know what I mean? Even what's the guy? Well, like when Hideo Nomo came over, and I mean he was pretty. He was a solid pitcher for a while.
Whoa. Hideo Nomo was a G. Okay, that guy was like 27 when he came over,
Right. And he's
just
slinging
slinging it. He was
supposedly already
he was
an old
the
man.
tornado
That's
man.
what I'm saying.
No, first of all, he's
Rookie of the year,
on
right?
his own.
Yeah.
So, what did Darvish command in his first contract? Do we know?
All right, I can't do the math, but in 2012, 5.5 million. 2013, 9.5. So whatever.
20, 30, 40.
6 years, around 10 million. So about 60 mil.
Yeah.
60 mil in how many years?
6 years. Yeah. So 56 million
Okay.
is the actual guarantee.
And do we know how old he was when he came over? And there's inflation. I'm guessing. I really
He's
do
27, so he was 26.
think. Okay, so I'm guessing that I really have to believe that Tanaka's going to command $100 million just to get started.
Counting, yeah, because that doesn't count the 20 million posting.
Right. I mean, he's going to command $100 million salary.
He's a year younger than Darvish was too.
Yeah. So I mean, who, number one, can put up that kind of salary, and who is going to be willing to?
Well, willing to. I mean, the Dodgers and Yankees. Can they? Obviously, the Dodgers with new ownership, they've shown that they don't care how much they spend. They got unlimited funds.
Well, I think the Angels don't care how much they spend.
But see,
either.
the thing with that,
Pujols and Hamilton, and those have been two awesome signings for the Angels.
Well, that brings you
it's
down
really
to
paid off for us.
Yeah.
it comes down to that. Exactly that. There's two things. That where fans will say, yes, we got the best pitcher out there, but then what if he doesn't pan out like Hamilton and Pujols? And then the second part to that is, what about Trout? How's Trout going to look at that? You're willing to spend all this money. Where's my money? Where's my love in the coming years?
Well, that's a whole other topic. We should probably save it for another
But
session.
it
But-
counts towards that too.
The Angels' relationship with Trout is going to get crapped all over no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. Because it doesn't matter. You can sign anyone. You can sign, Kevin Gross, who should be about 60 years old by now, for $1.5 million, and Trout's going to be going, are you kidding me?
That's my $1.5 million.
Yeah. So that relationship is going to be strained, to say the least. And I for one can't wait to see Trout in pinstripes, just to screw with you Angel fans.
Yeah, you would, asshole.
But I do think that most of mainstream media doesn't think that the Angels are going to be a player in the Tanaka sweepstakes. I disagree. I think that Artie Moreno's got a force to deal with
He's got something
in the real county of LA with the Dodgers. So I think he's gonna put up a little bit of fight for Tanaka.
Yeah,
he should.
And the way the Angels are, you won't know about it until it's done.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the way it happened with Pujols. We weren't even mentioned anywhere near that deal, and we pulled him away.
We got
the
pulled like
deal.
that.
I remember it was the morning. I woke up and I was like, "Who signed Pujols?
Right.
What the crap?"
Yeah.
You didn't hear no
it was
rumors, you
pretty
didn't hear
amazing.
nothing. It just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Same
So,
thing.
I don't. Unless Phil, you have anything to add? Because unless there's something that you can add, we're gonna go on to the next.
I could care less. Let's move on, dude.
Let's move on.
Baseball is not my strong point.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move on to the a non baseball related topic.
Thank you.
The Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, well.
So.
Well, let's
we're gonna
briefly
go-
touch up on that.
When's
so
Pete
got a
Rose
ballot-
getting in, dude?
We got a ballot. When he
Hit
stops,
me with that.
when he stops gambling. Our first players that we're going to talk about are probably two of the best pitchers I ever saw in my lifetime. Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. They're on the ballot this year. Does anyone have an argument for these guys, either one of these guys, not getting in? If there's ever been a player in my lifetime, it's been about 31, 32 years, that I can say wholeheartedly, there's no freaking question this guy's a Hall of Famer. It's Greg motherfucking Maddux.
Motherfucking Maddox.
If you need him.
Yeah,
That's the only player that I can think of where I can say without a question, in my lifetime, mind you. Now, Glavine, maybe
Yeah,
he brought
I
some
agree
good
the
points.
same.
There was some issues there.
Well,
But Maddux, I don't think there's a question about that guy.
I don't think so. I think Maddox did. I mean, he was awesome in the regular season. Had some solid postseasons as well. I think if anybody gets called in a little bit suspect on a few occasions, it's been Glavine, and it was in all of those postseason runs. I mean, the Braves were constantly in the playoffs, constantly going deep into the playoffs, but yet just couldn't get over that hump and beat the Yankees on several occasions. And one of the biggest reasons is they'd bring in one of their studs, Tom Glavine, and he'd come up and get roughed up in the third or fourth inning. He's the type of pitcher that needs to expand the zone. He needs to paint the outside corner. He needs to show the ump that he has command over his fastball, and the ump starts to push that line a little bit further and further outside, and he starts punching guys out because he's shown that I own that outside corner, and he gets an inch and a half, 2 inches. Now,
Sometimes that's all you need.
that's all you need, and for a command pitcher like that, where you can bust him in, mix in your curveball, and you can extend it out to the outside with that extra inch that some people pray for and never get. It's just that's all you need. But I think definitely, with some of those teams that the Braves had, they were amazing teams. They had some great staffs. I mean, when you had Maddux, Glavine, and Avery to throw out 1, 2, 3, you were a solid squad. But
Smoltz, I think you mean Smoltz.
Oh yeah, you had Smoltz in there. That's right. Smoltz, that guy was nails. He was always solid in the postseason. But along with those two pitchers, we've got the big herd out there. Frank Thomas, one of your favorites. We've got Jeff Kent. I can think back Kent mixing it up with Barry Bonds in the dugout. Anybody's willing to punch him in the face.
I personally, I do remember watching most of Frank Thomas's career, and I don't think there's any question that he is a Hall of Famer. For a long time.
My question is,
Pitchers feared
why
that
did
guy.
he never get asked or questioned about the steroids? Maybe because he's black, but this guy was huge.
Well, so is Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is black.
But
But
he was skinny.
Frank Thomas was
Frank
enormous from day one.
Yeah.
My first game behind home plate was an Angel game against the White Sox, and I was, 9, 10 years old, and I remember just watching Frank Thomas walk up to the plate. The man was enormous. It was like watching Shaquille O'Neal step up to the plate with a bat in his hand.
Yeah.
He was a huge man. And you know what? He didn't look ripped. He didn't look like he lifted too much weight. I think he was kind of the black version of
didn't see his arms?
Adam Dunn. just a big corn-fed dude, or Jim Tomey. I don't think Jim Tomey worked out a day in his life. Just a big son of a bitch, and he could just rip it. Okay, and I don't think that I don't want to put a cloud. Definitely don't want to be the motherfucker to put a cloud on Frank Thomas. I don't have any suspicion that guy was ever on any kind of PED. But
so from this list, who do you think should make or get into the Hall of Fame?
Let's see. I would say for sure Maddox. I think Piazza definitely needs to be a Hall of Famer. Even though he wasn't a great defensive catcher, he did play the position of catcher, and he was the best hitting catcher there's ever been.
He was never tested positive, right?
No.
It was just speculation, like Bagwell.
Yeah. I don't think necessarily. I don't think, if anything, he won't get kept out because of that kind of suspicion.
If anything, it was just a meat hit. Just a big meat hit.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in the last round. He was like a favor from.
He was a
62nd round
or something.
So he was a 62nd round draft pick.
There's a story right there just to make it too.
Yeah.
And plus, you're the best hitting catcher basically of all time.
To turn into a favor to the next thing, you're like ranking Rookie of the Year, right? He was Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Put up
back in the Dodgers.
Put up numbers like nobody as a catcher because he couldn't catch for shit. Couldn't throw anybody out at second base. But hey, he held the position, he worked the position, and he could rake.
And he was catcher throughout his whole career, right? He played in the National League with
the whole time.
DH. And
all the way, catcher.
He did end his career, I believe, where baseball players go to die. He did, I believe, end his career in Oakland.
Did he?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I don't even know.
Well, he had put up the majority of his numbers while catching.
Yeah.
So I think there wouldn't be any problem in him making it as a catcher. I think Schillings is definitely a Hall of Famer, along with Piazza, Jeff Kent, and Maddox. Frank Thomas, I could see, because he never really had those defining moments. When I think back at Frank Thomas, I can't think of any huge playoff games. You know why?
Because the White Sox were shit the entire time that he was in his prime. I mean, the White Sox were a crap team that whole time.
Well, is that his fault? Because he stayed in that team, right? So it was like the hometown discount where he stayed on the team. He wouldn't go anywhere else because he wanted to play for that team. But does that go as a strike against him as in the voting?
Can't fashion an argument against him. He wanted to stay in the town that he wanted to stay in. Right. He's not the owner. He has no control over the team that's being put around him. I mean, the guy was dominant for the better part of 10 years. I mean, it was unbelievable.
That's where I think I get it. The thing is about that. Hold on, let me start that all over. Fucked it up from the beginning. What I don't like about the whole Hall of Fame in any sport is that people like to lean on how many championships, how many Super Bowls, things of that nature. Why can't a really good player that was on a shitty team for most of his career make it to the Hall of Fame without getting that put against them? You know what I mean? Look at Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. Why is Eli Manning even in his brother's category just because of the Super Bowl rings? Like that's completely unfair. Peyton Manning is the far more superior quarterback than Eli Manning.
I think that mentality is more dominant in baseball, basketball, and football.
Right.
It's all about the rings. I think baseball's a lot more forgiving just because there's so many stats, and I mean, there's players that never won a World Series and are like amazing baseball players.
Yeah, it does
play a part, you know, and it shouldn't. It should be,
and it's not
how good the player was.
Absolutely, I agree.
And I don't think necessarily, Felix, that in baseball specifically that you have to have won a championship. The problem is you need to at least get those chances in the playoffs. And honestly, the reason you need to be in the playoffs is because that's where the best pitching is going to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you can rake in the playoffs, you're facing bomb-ass pitching squad. I mean, you won't find a shitty pitching rotation in the playoffs for the most part. I mean, it'll be very... You'd have to have murderer's row to carry a shitty-ass pitching staff into the playoffs. So, as watered down as the baseball pitching staffs are, yeah, you can hit your 30, 40 home runs a year and just rake off of every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's going to be pumping gas next year. You know what I mean? But when you've had those breakout moments, when the lights are brightest, when you got the best pitching out there, that's what means something. When you can go out there and you're hitting off of aces and the number twos that are damn near as good as the aces, and you're raking them left and right like Miguel Cabrera does, you're the man. You know what I mean? That's what in my mind and in a lot of baseball writers' minds, from what I've heard throughout the years, is they always look. That's why they say, like, Steve Garvey. How the hell is Steve Garvey not in the fucking Hall of Fame? That guy roped in the fucking playoffs. You get him in there with the game on the line against a number one pitcher, he's gonna rope that guy, and he's gonna make something happen.
And this goes back to how we were talking about earlier. I brought up a point that a lot of the writers said that as far as Hall of Famers, nobody is a first ballot. Nobody deserves to make it on the first ballot. That they're not going to vote for any player to make it on the first time they're eligible. And Manny, you brought up a good point saying, or go ahead and say it. What you said.
Well, when we were talking about it, basically, I think it's the opposite. I mean, a Hall of Famer should be the creme de la creme. There should be absolutely no doubt in your mind when you talk about that guy or that player's career, he's a Hall of Famer. He's absolutely the best of the best. Because there's a lot of guys who are within reach. They're solid players. They have career years. They really, play above their head. But a Hall of Famer, there should be no doubt. I mean, that should be the enshrinement of a lifetime. You're like, nobody can look down at you. You're in there shoulder to shoulder with some of the greatest players to ever lace them up. So to be like, oh, I'm not going to let him in on the first, motherfucker, don't let him in if you can't. If you can't let him in the first time,
exactly.
He doesn't get any.
Yeah.
Do stats get any better?
No, they stay the same.
Exactly. Do moments or career highlights get any bigger? No. It's just these guys, and you know what? It's the old school of the baseball guard that like to hold, people outside of their little circle. And we're talking about old 50, 60-year-old guys with guts who have cigars hanging out the side and
that never played a day in their life.
Never played, never have known what it is to dig in. You know what I mean? When the guys bring in heat. I mean, even us who have played these baseball games, these Sunday leagues, you're stepping in. This guy's throwing 70-something, maybe 80 miles an hour, really popping the glove, and you're like, okay, I'm going to dig in and I'm going to commit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to bail out if he throws me high and tight. I'm not going to bail out if I see that bender coming at me. Well, I'm not. Ponch might. But I'm just saying.
Wear it, Ponch.
I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Sometimes you strike out on a breaking ball that comes out and you hit the plate. I don't know. But
I ain't here to judge.
What I'm saying is, you know what? You got to look at a player's career, and it's either good enough from day one or it's not. Because if you look at it 3, 4, 5 years down the road and then you put him in the Hall of Fame, you know what that means? Every year you pull that bar just a little lower.
You're watering it down.
You really are. And that does, not only is it unfair to make a quality player wait, it's unfair to all the guys that are already in that you're letting in lesser players.
I definitely agree. And I feel very strongly about a player that a lot of people don't agree with me on. And that's one of the best second basemen. And mind you, I saw Ryan Sandberg play also. So one of the best second basemen that I ever saw play the game, and that was Jeff Kent. And people don't like him. He might have been a little bit of a redneck.
He's an ass.
He may have been a little bit of an aspect to the media. He might have tried to throw some hooks with Barry Bonds. But you know what? The guy was as consistent as shit. And you can't tell me that guy was on PEDs.
He looked like a cop.
I mean, good lord.
And he had the porn brocha. I mean,
you know what?
Brocha.
The guy, though, I remember watching him when he was in New York. He was just a young pup. I was like, this guy's a badass. And then I followed him to San Francisco. And there was so many times where the Dodgers were about to sign him, and just something just fell off, and we just couldn't get him until, I think, the last 2-3 years of his career. And you know what? Even he was damn near 40, and he still put up solid numbers for the Dodgers.
He's a solid.
And you know what?
One of the most productive
I think that guy to me is one of the reasons that I love baseball, is because you don't need to be born like LeBron James. Damn near 7 foot, 275 pounds of pure muscle. You can just be a regular dude looking like Jeff Kent with a stash and some Ray-Bans. And you can make a freaking Hall of Fame career if you work hard enough. And no one can tell me that fucking guy did not work his ass off to stay in that league as long as he did and be as productive as he did.
Dude, he was a chap ass in the mold.
And he was a chappy.
Ty Cobb.
He was a chap ass
McGillicuddy.
I just want to go on the record and let everybody know that I fucking hate LeBron James.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch bases on that.
Sidebar.
Fuck you, LeBron James.
I'm coming for you, man.
Yeah, dude. I got your number, bro.
They're gonna fight you at the same time. I'm good with you. I love you.
This guy will suck anyone's dick. But
I'm just never
For
like
money.
money.
All right, so then we agree that Maddox deserves the Hall of Fame.
Of all of them, first and foremost, I would say Maddox is definitely first ballot Hall of Famer.
He was
Did
a
the
dominant
most with the
pitcher.
least.
He had nothing to scare anyone, but he struck out every. He was pinpoint.
His stuff would
magician.
would defy.
I'm hard.
Oh my god!
I
Yes.
see it.
To close it out, and then we'll move on to the NFL, where my boy Felix will be a lot more comfortable. I'll have one slight story, and I don't remember what park it was, but it was, again, as we always do, it was in the twilight of his career. Greg Maddux was on the Dodgers. I think it was his very last year, and he takes a no-hitter into the sixth. It starts raining, and there's about an hour and a half delay, and the Dodgers were in the hunt, and he made the decision in the sixth. After an hour and a half delay, I'm not going to go back out there because now I've cooled down. I don't want to hurt my arm. I want to help the team. And me going out there just to get this no-hitter is not going to help the team. So he did not go back out there having a no-hitter on the line to preserve the playoff hunt. To me, that was like,
That's
wow.
selfless.
That's amazing. Because if I was me, I'd be like, get me back out there. I got a no-hitter going.
Well, you're a douchebag.
I mean,
understandable.
Until you got taken deep by a guy who changes tires every day.
In any event.
That's
We're going to
right.
move on to the NFL, where
That's
my
me.
boy Felix is going to be real comfortable. Because he's been looking like he's got a donger up his ass the entire time we're talking about baseball.
I don't know about baseball.
So here we go.
I'm not good.
Tell me what you think about Dallas and Tony Romo.
I'll tell you what I think about Dallas and Tony Romo.
Tell me.
Let's start off by saying I fucking hate Dallas and Tony Romo. I don't care for either.
Okay.
It's not even the team, okay? Back when I was, I'd say, in 6th grade. Let's go back to 6th grade. I was at Jefferson
3 years
Elementary.
ago. Okay, got it.
I had a crush on Miss Santa Cruz. You guys remember Miss Santa Cruz?
No.
Well, actually, it was a girl named, her last name was Santa Cruz.
How was the rap?
She was a Dallas fan. She was a Dallas fan. That's why I like Dallas. But since then, my feelings have changed for Dallas. Now I hate Dallas. Can't stand them. Can't play with them.
She told you.
Can't win with them. Won't do it.
So what happened in Santa Cruz?
She's a dyke now. Anyway.
Understand?
Shit went sideways.
Shit went sideways. Okay, so Tony Romo hurt his back.
Sorry, bro.
I don't think he hurt his back. First of all, I want to start off by saying that he looked like a faggot with one of his socks halfway down, the other sock up, limping off the field, kind of faking like I thought he had hurt his ankle or something, but apparently he has a herniated disc. He got an epidural shot, and that didn't help any. So now they're gonna go with Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton is the man of the hour. I think Dallas had the best chance of making the playoffs with Tony Romo.
Nope.
And I know Bert doesn't agree with me because Tony Romo does choke.
Exactly.
But
that's the whole point.
I think Tony Romo was going to sling the rock at least against Philadelphia's high-speed offense. And that Philadelphia, they're going to come out there and they're going to start slinging the rock like it's no one's business. Shady McCoy is going to run the ball down your throat. Who the fuck's that quarterback they got? The rookie?
John Kitten. Or,
No.
Eagles?
Phillies quarter. Yeah.
Uh,
Guy's a
from-
madman. God, what's his name?
Look up the Eagles quarterback.
It's Nick Foles. is the
Nick
quarterback.
Foles.
Nick Foles, that's right.
Nick Foles and Riley
Foles.
Cooper are going to hook up so much, it's going to be disgusting. They're going to think they have something under the table going on there. They're going to be just throwing the ball. Deshaun Jackson's going to get no love.
Yeah, you never.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Riley Cooper and Nick Foles are the new couple. Now, Tony Romo could slang the ball to Des Bryant. He slang the ball to Jason Witten, Miles Austin, all the key players, and then he could do a sick, nice little play action to Murray.
No.
I mean, the whole play. I just feel that without Tony Romo, you guys aren't anywhere.
I have 2 points to
playoff.
disagree with this guy about, and then you can just tear him a new asshole. Here's the thing. First of all, he doesn't have a sprained back. He's got a herniated disc, which hurts like hell.
That's what I said.
He had surgery
He did say
today.
Go ahead.
Okay. He's got a herniated disc. He had surgery today. That's not a little procedure. That's kind of a big deal.
But
I'm kind of.
is that confirmed, or is
that's
that
been confirmed? That he had surgery.
They got
has been
money. They
confirmed.
can confirm whatever they want.
That he had surgery today has been confirmed. Secondly, you're right about Des Bryant. He hasn't done anything with Jason Witten all year. I think they've had
I disagree.
2 good games with Jason Witten. Jason Witten's been a disappointment all year. I am, for one,
because he's on your fantasy team.
tired of Jason Witten.
Say it because he's on your fantasy
Overrated.
team.
Because he's on my fantasy team
And he fucked you.
sucks.
Yeah, and
He
Tony
is
Romo.
terrible.
Yes, tell him.
Anyway, Carrie.
It's a conspiracy.
That's what I think.
This came down because you guys being Raider fans know that Al Davis used to call the plays. Well, fucking Jerry Jones calls the plays. He said, fucking Tony Romo, the last few years, you ain't done dick for me. We get close to the playoffs and you fuck it up. This time, I'm faking this fucking injury. You're going down. We're bringing Kyle Orton. But the thing is, Romo fucked it up because DeMarco Murray has one of the highest yards per carry of any running back. He should have passed it to him more.
I agree.
Handed it off more, because now it's going to look stupid when they hand it off so much to him. Because Orton's not going to pass as much as Romo would.
I agree with
So
you.
now-
Or as what?
I agree with you on that. Okay.
Sure.
DeMarco Murray is a hell of a running back. I can't disagree with you on that because he's on my fantasy football team and I know how many yards he carries. Manny's got to go pee, so
I do
we gotta take a break.
No, we're good.
No, you
can't
guys
take
keep
a
it
break.
rolling.
Keep it
All right,
rolling.
so let's keep it rolling. Manny's a pretty big deal at football.
Hold it. I'll be right back.
DeMarco Murray
We see your butt right.
should have gotten many more carries, but that's not Tony Romo's fault. I mean, Tony Romo doesn't call the plays, and neither does Jason Garrett. Let's get that clear. Jimmy's the one that's calling the plays.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones fucked it up.
No,
since he-
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett
He's
is
saying the
coach.
owners.
Oh, okay.
The owner.
Jerry
What
Jones.
The thing that I got in the back of my head is Jimmy Johnson.
Yes.
Jimmy Johnson, doubtedly the greatest coach that ever coached in Dallas. Okay,
Isn't that also a NASCAR driver?
he was a.
I don't know.
That also, yeah, it could be
Yeah,
both.
Jimmy Johnson. Yeah.
It may be both. That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
He left Dallas because of Jerry Jones. The guy that could have
Great
taken Dallas to many more Super Bowls. I mean, how many did he get when he was there? 3? Back to back to back? Something like that? Something ridiculous. And he left because Jerry Jones just couldn't handle it. He wanted more of the offensive coordinator position. Something that had been out of the football for many years as far as play calling is concerned. He was in the booth being the owner, and he wanted to put his fucking foot into the team more than he should have. So Jerry Jones got rid of Jimmy Johnson, saying that they didn't get along. And now he's doing the same thing, just running his team into the ground. I agree with you as far as this being a conspiracy theory. I didn't look like Tony Romo got hurt. It really didn't.
I, for one, think you're both ridiculous. I don't think that there's any kind of conspiracy theory. I think Tony Romo is hurt. I think
How though?
And by the way, listen.
When did he get hurt?
First of all, let me get some things straight. I
they pulled his leg.
am not a Dallas
tweaked his
fan.
leg.
I thought you were.
I am not at
I
all.
swear I thought you
am
were.
not a Dallas fan at all.
Okay.
I actually quite dislike the Jerry Jones and the entire Dallas franchise. And I'm not even a Tony Romo fan. But I'll tell you what, I recognize talent when I
Nobody
see
is.
it. And I think the guy is an amazing athlete. I think he's hurt. Does he screw up a lot? Yeah. Has he shit the bed many a time? Yeah. But I don't think that there's some kind of CIA cover up that.
Would you call him elite? Do you think you can put him
I
atop
can't.
the elite
I don't want to get
quarterback?
into that. I don't, because then we have to define elite, and then you get into the whole: is the Baltimore quarterback elite?
He's not. Joe Flacco is
I don't
not
know,
an
but
elite
I do
quarterback.
think I think that I'll tell you this. I can't say he's elite. I will say he's probably one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think the biggest thing is just as there's these players in the leagues, regardless of the sport, there's clutch players. And then there's players like Tony Romo who seem to be snake bit. You know, I mean, all the way back to that hold of the snap on that field goal.
Right.
That's where it all started
Seahawks.
against the Seahawks, man. He shouldn't have even been out there, but he was.
Yeah.
And shit just goes wrong for that guy. You know what I mean? I mean, guys who
He's
don't
got
even ever
Murphy's
touch
Law.
the field, they can put that shit down and he fucks it up. You know what I mean?
Well,
and ever since, it seems like the bigger the moment,
The harder he chokes.
yeah, it really is.
He never
You know
calls
all
blame
about
upon
that.
himself because what pisses me off is he does something wrong. Like he'll overthrow a receiver. And then he'll be yelling at him. The camera will pan out to him. He's yelling at him like it was his fault. What the fuck? You threw it 5 feet over his head, 10 feet over his head. Why don't you fucking...
Man up.
Hey, it was my bad. Hey. And then that'll make the receiver feel better. And then you're like...
Instill some confidence. Next
Yeah,
time when they
yeah.
hit you in stride, you're going to
You
break
did
that.
good. You did
Yeah.
good. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, I don't know if you were like, if you didn't speak right or if you're underestimating, but if I throw it 5 feet above an NFL receiver, he better goddamn catch that
I'm a
thing.
little drunk.
Okay, so
I
you mean
threw a
like
number.
15 feet above
I
his
threw a
head?
number
Because if
that
I throw it
was-
5 feet above an NFL receiver, he better goddamn
Yeah.
get to that ball.
Yeah, no. I
All right,
drunk.
I think
fair enough.
it's in his head. I mean, and going along with what you guys are saying, he's just, it's more, I don't think he's mad at the receiver. He's just looking for that excuse to get it off of, because it's already on him. Everybody, anytime Dallas fucks out Tony Romo, they missed the field, fucking Tony Romo.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it may be. DeMarco Murray fumble, Tony Romo.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been on the fucking field. How many points have you guys allowed? You guys have the worst defense in the league. But
That's
somehow
right.
that's
That's
Tony
true.
Romo's
That's
fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the Bears. The Bears, Jay Cutler was out, right? McClellan got fucking hot. He was on a heater. I mean, just throwing it to Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey's the number 1 receiver now. Okay?
A. Jeffrey is a beast.
A. Jeffrey's a beast with McClellan.
Yep.
Jay Cutler's back, dissing
Nothing.
McClellan.
Yep.
And it's like, they have the worst defense in the league. You know what I mean? How do you expect to win playoff games like that when you're not investing money in your defense? How much money did they pay Tony Romo last year?
No idea.
A lot. 10? 9? 9 million.
It is a ridiculous
I think
contract extension. I think it's in the 100 millions, if I'm correct.
Well, I think it's 10 years, 9 million a year, or thereabouts.
Right?
So
Why didn't they take some of that and invest it in a fucking solid defense?
I don't think he got a 10-year contract.
He did.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
extended
it's
it.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck out of it.
10-year deal.
Yeah,
I
there
bet
was
you-
a
I
lot
bet
of
you he
Cowboys
was a
fans
player
that
for
were
10
upset.
Oh, he's not.
He won't make it out of this year.
Absolutely
It's one
not.
of those ones just to make it sound like they
Yeah,
love him.
yeah.
And he's gone next year.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone. He's
There was a
getting
1-year
traded.
guarantee, but just like what's his name got from Philly, Vic.
Yeah,
Vic got some
yeah.
huge.
And it's not,
contract.
yeah, it's not guaranteed and all
No,
that.
yeah.
Michael Vick's gone too.
Well, let me get just a vote.
It's a
before-
6-year, $108 million.
Oh, well, even worse actually.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
That's
a
about-
$25 million signing bonus.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not going to agree on a lot of things, but let's take this a survey and then we'll move on to a little bit of MMA. Is Dallas better with or without Romo? What say you?
I think they're just as bad with or without him.
All right, that's fair enough.
I agree. I think had he not fucked up and handed off more, it would have been a wash because
But that goes back to play calling, though. I don't want to
I
interrupt
don't know.
you, but
I don't know if it's really.
it could be audibles. You're right. I mean, he could have audibled and been like, "Nah, I think I'm gonna slang this rock."
So are you
because
saying
my-
they're better off with or without?
I think it's a wash. I think they're
You think-
just.
so you're with him, right? You guys are. My vote is I think they're significantly better with Tony Romo, and I'll put this little tidbit in there. I think people assume that he's got a lot of good pieces around. I don't think he's got the best team around him.
I agree.
So I think if he had a good team, I think Tony Romo could be without a doubt an elite quarterback, but we won't know.
He's got a solid offense. But
What do you
defense
think?
sucks.
I mean, basically, Tony Romo, you guys have a starting quarterback in this league. Tony Romo is a starting quarterback. He has the talent to perform. He makes plays. Does he make boneheaded plays at sometimes? Yes. I think more so, if anything, why do they have Garrett as their coach still? They need somebody who's going to limit him in making his mistakes. If you can get Romo into a situation with a running game and a coach that's going to corral him in from having to throw the ball as much and throw into coverages, feeling like he's got to make things happen, you'll win. But with that recipe, you need a defense.
So the question
That's
is,
what you guys need.
The
is a
question
defense.
is, are the Cowboys better with or without Romo? That's the question.
They're better with because
Better with,
the
I agree.
alternative. There's not starting quarterbacks hanging off of trees where you can
That's
just go pluck another.
Fair enough.
If that was the case, the Raiders would have us in quarterback.
With that, we're going to move on to the world of MMA just for a little bit, and we're going to talk about a long-awaited rematch between Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman, I believe it's
Weidman.
Yeah, we are kind of argue
Everyone
that.
has a different way to
I
name
work
it
with
or
a
Weidman.
I work
Anyway.
with a Weidman. It's Weidman.
All right, so
Well, what if he calls himself
Weidman knocked out Silva at their last matchup
Cleaned his
because
clock.
Silva was showboating and doing the "you can't hit me" thing, and then
He was doing
boom,
the Bernie lean.
he was doing the Bernie lean and got clocked right in the chin and got knocked out by homeboy. So I, for one, have never liked Silva. I admire his athleticism, and I do believe he's an elite fighter, but I just don't like the showboating and making an ass of yourself in the octagon.
I thought if anyone, you would have loved it because he
you're
was
a
an
douchebag.
asshole. Yeah, he was basically a douchebag in the octagon. He was the best fighter, and he let you know. I will beat your
basically
ass up, and
you.
I'm gonna dance around
If
your
you could
face.
throw hooks, basically.
Or
I
sling the cut.
disagree. Because he doesn't look this good in a V-neck. I know that for sure.
Well, the jury's still out on that. Have
Yeah.
you seen this one? Hold on,
That's
buddy.
not a V-neck.
Let me get you some
First
action.
of all, that's not a V-neck.
Oh,
And
it-
the hair's coming out. The hair's coming out.
I've never
That's right.
liked the showboating.
That just happened.
But if you know you're that much better than the next guy,
Except he wasn't because
That's
he got
bad.
knocked the hell out.
because of that. Like
So
before
I,
this
for
fight,
one-
he would destroy.
No, he's had a lot of close fights. And I, for one, am hoping that Weidman, whatever, knocks him out again. Just to show him
Well,
that,
he's
hey,
undefeated.
You need,
And
you
he
need
looked
to,
pretty solid.
The guy, Weidman, whatever his name
Weidman.
is, Weidman, looked solid to me at that last fight. He looked
C-Dub.
How solid can he look?
C-Dub.
if
We're
he
going with
not-
C-Dub.
C-Dub.
C-Dub looked solid and sound in his fighting tactics.
How
And
long was the
that's-
fight?
About a round and a half. I'm
Let's go with that.
guesstimating.
Yeah.
How can you say that he looks solid in a round and a half?
Oh, you can tell. You can tell when a fighter is
but
solid. in
Anderson
MMA.
Silva
I know,
still hadn't
that's
really
true.
began to bring his fight.
Yeah.
He was still kind of feeling him out. He
was
was
clowning the
dancing a
whole
lot.
time,
He was clowning
yeah.
a lot. Basically, that's how he ended up getting caught. I mean, he kept on bending back, dodging until you
I think you
can't.
guys are misunderstanding me.
bend anymore.
I'm not saying that Weidman is a better fighter at all. He's not proven at all. Silva is. I'm saying I just hope that Weidman knocks out Silva again.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Weidman is a better
I think
athlete.
that's what you were saying. That's what I took from it.
I just said that I wasn't. So clearly I.
Well,
was not
now
saying
that you're retracing your steps, and
Nah, I'm not retracing anything.
I believe you are.
I don't think I am.
I think if there was ever a time that Anderson Silva is going to come out and get no nonsense,
Yeah.
and really get in somebody's
better be
ass,
this
Well, he's
time.
got no
It better be
choice.
this time.
He's got no choice.
Because if not, why come back?
Exactly.
So I'm really hoping tomorrow. I'm gonna tune in. I'm gonna take the cheap route. I'm gonna go ahead and go over to someone's house. I'm gonna watch them because I ain't paid for this shit. Because you know what? Yeah, you pay $79, and then the next thing that happens is somebody fucks around and they get knocked out, and you don't even get entertained. So I'm hoping that Anderson Silva does come out, both guns blazing, kicks a flying. And
So let's
really
get a
knock
little
him
bit
the
of
hell out.
let's get a little bit of a vote here. Who thinks that Silva's gonna win tomorrow?
I'm going Silva.
Real quick,
So-
because at the end, you guys heard the interview after, right? It kind of sounded like he was gonna hang him up, right? He kind of sounded like, "Oh, this guy got me." So it was kind of weird to me.
It
Like,
seemed like his heart wasn't in it.
yeah, like
right?
or like I kind of felt like, all right, he was showboating, but was he being like, hey, just take it, just
Yeah.
But like the interview, it sounded like he was, oh yeah, he was the better fighter. He beat me fair and square, and like almost like, and they asked him, is this it? And he was like, well, I don't know. Like I'm gonna spend time with family.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of weird, but when I heard about this fight, and it was pretty brief. I didn't hear anything about it until like recently.
You're right.
Right?
It kind of came out. It kind of came out. Well,
I mean, I don't follow
as far as
too
I'm
much.
concerned,
Yeah.
I followed kind of closely, and I did kind of get caught by surprise. I don't think it was longer than like 45 days before the fight. Oh, here's a rematch. I was like,
Right.
whoa, okay.
I think there's a couple things that I want to touch on this. First, there's obviously contracts that Silva has to fulfill as far as UFC are concerned.
Sure, of course.
So more than likely, if what you're saying is true, his heart's not in it anymore. He's probably just trying to complete the contract, get out while he's still healthy, whatnot.
Fair enough.
That could be one thing. The second thing, it ties into a little story that I have. Back in 8th grade, I was a big tough guy, you know. Went to a new school.
I don't believe it.
I've always been that guy. And I got into a little fight, you know what I mean? This younger guy told me straight up, I'm going to clean your clock. And I said, you're dreaming, guy. I mean, I'm an 8th grader. I'm big. I'm bad. I'm going to knock you out. And I ran into him after school. Fucked around and I got my clock cleaned. Straight up. Just got knocked the fuck out. I was showboating in front of him. Exact same thing that happened to Silva. Did a roundhouse kick straight to my face, knocked me the fuck out, and I was done. Since that day, I learned my lesson.
Don't fuck
Never again. No showboating.
Not a fight, maybe after.
The thing is, you get to a point where you're just so good that you think you're never gonna lose,
untouchable,
and you just become untouchable in your mindset. And then you get knocked the fuck out. You get so embarrassed that you get humbled.
Yeah.
And I think Silva at this point, he's just completely humbled, and I think that's what it was at the press conference as well. Is that he was just kind of like, "Fuck, dude, like I'm no good anymore." Yeah. Maybe I'm just like.
Maybe I should.
So
hang
you're
it up.
I should hang
So you're
it up.
saying he's got something to prove, or that he's?
I think
Because why come back?
I think he's humbled, and I think now he's got the thing to
Chip on
prove
his
to
shoulder,
where it's
yeah.
like now I'm serious. Now if he beats me, now that I'm gonna be completely 100% dedicated
No
to this
showboating,
fight,
just-
no showboating, just straight fighting, and he fucks me up, then that's it.
Yeah.
Is this gonna go longer than one round?
It better go around.
It's
Yeah.
one.
Unless Silva, it could go one of two ways. Silva's gonna try and embarrass him because he got embarrassed, and he's gonna just beat the shit out of
Which
him
way
for
is
3
it gonna go?
I think he's gonna try and embarrass him. Maybe go the
I
5
think he
rounds.
should. I think he's got that to prove.
He's got to prove that, because he's a submission king, right? He's a submission
Although
king.
not-
No,
not-
67% TKO or not.
Not in the
Silva.
recent history, but he was.
He's 12% submission and 67% knockout TKO.
So he's okay. So he's
He's
gonna
gonna knock
Someone's
he's
gonna
gonna knock him
kick
out.
the shit out of him. And
Yeah.
he's gonna go out.
That's
I'm calling a second round knockout by kick.
I don't think
What's
it'll go
the-
for
yeah,
the second
Can you
round.
is there an age difference, and if so, what is it?
Weidman's got to be younger.
Yeah, keep talking. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I could see it ending the first round in MMA. There's definitely the feeling out process, except for in the heavyweights. Heavyweights,
You gotta
shit,
go
you
for it.
right when
Yeah.
they ring the bell, you can get.
You
knocked
only
the
got so
fuck
much
out.
in the tank.
Yeah, once they touch you on the chin from a heavyweight with that kind of power.
Unless you're fighting Cain Velasquez, then you're just gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my boy.
true. But I'm talking the big punchers. There's always that chance you stroll out there and
Oh,
you
you're
get caught.
getting
And
knocked the
it's
fuck out.
over.
Tyson style.
Yeah, man. So
By the way, I love you, Tyson. You watching this shit?
got nothing for love.
Got
for
nothing
you.
but love for you, baby.
But
That
yeah,
sounds bad,
I'm
man.
calling second round knockout. What do you think, Ivan?
I'm calling a 4th round knockout. It's a championship fight, is it not?
No, neither one have a. Oh yeah, well yeah,
Yeah,
you-
he
it
took
is.
Silva's-
Yeah.
he took Silva's ring.
So it's
Five
like-
5 rounds.
Briefly, Weidman is 29. Silva is 38.
yeah.
I'm
What
gonna,
the fuck is he still doing out
and
there?
this is
Yeah,
this is a
something to
huge factor, which we hadn't thought
Yeah,
about before.
I didn't know he was 38.
I'm gonna call a 4th round knockout.
No.
Weidman knocking out Silva. 29 to 38, you said?
That's a 90.
29 and 38, yeah.
It's a long time, brother.
See, but that's the thing. When you're the king, you don't. The king doesn't go out till somebody takes his crown.
Yeah.
And he,
But
I bet
somebody
you,
already
he
did take his crown.
Yeah, but I bet you he always thought
Because he
when
was
somebody
showing,
takes
yeah.
me out, I'm just gonna walk away. I
Yeah.
have been on the top. It's been all good. I got nothing left to prove. But you know what? He went back to Brazil. He sat there and said,
He said,
"I ain't gonna
"This
lose
is
like
like
this
this."
fucker." You know what I mean?
I ain't going out like
You
this.
can't.
Not
You
like
can't.
that.
Not like that.
That's why I say, he said, I ain't going out like this. If he's going to beat me, I'm going to come at him, and he's going to take me at what I'm best at.
Because
So-
if he was to retire, then what's the storyline?
Yeah.
Oh, he was top dog until he ran across Weidman. Weidman retired.
And you lost like this.
Yeah, trying to fuck around, and he
So I guess
checkmated your
is the
ass, you know what I
consensus?
mean?
Is the consensus? I got 3 against 1. I got 3 Silvas here.
Yeah, I got Silva.
Okay, I got 3
Well,
Silvas.
I ain't saying Silva I'm saying it's going to go to the second round because Silva's going to come at him. And if he comes at him hard and then Weidman catches him on the chin with
we can play if all day. Okay, you got to choose one or else you're like
it's not going to go to the fourth round like you said though. It's not going to go there at all.
Pick a guy. Take a stance.
I'd say Silva if it's the first, Weidman if it's the second, but it ain't going further than the second.
If you had to choose one of those 2 scenarios, which one?
I'm saying Silva
You're going Silva. All right.
because he's going to come at him strong.
Fair enough.
Weidman's
All right.
gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah,
We'll see.
because
We
he's
will
got
see.
something to prove.
Would you like to wager a little
And
drunken
no
stupor?
betting. We don't do any betting on camera.
Not on camera?
And with that, we're gonna move.
Slut busters, baby.
We're gonna
No.
we're gonna move on to
Oh, that's number 6. It's
what I
still
affectionately call the chick fight, and let me introduce this topic. And it's gonna piss a lot of people off, and I really don't give a damn. I for one don't want to watch women fighting. It's not entertaining. It's not sexy.
What are you talking about?
And I just don't like it. And I don't know what you guys feel about it, but tonight not tonight. Tomorrow night we have what's her name? Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey and
Against
Misha
Tate.
Tate.
Both pretty girls. I mean, let's keep it real.
Relatively.
I think that's all I
we're
gotta
talking
say.
in the fight game.
I don't want to watch. Here's my thing. I don't want to watch them kicking the crap out of each other, and I don't want to watch them running up and down the court in the WNBA. That shit is annoying.
Yes.
So I got nothing to say about this fight. I don't care who wins.
Take
it away, man.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw my allegiance towards Ronda Rousey.
Because she's the hotter of the 2.
Not just that. I mean, I've seen her fight a couple times. She's pretty tough, relatively speaking. You know what I mean? I like to see the girl fights. As long as it's not that cyborg chick, she kind of scares me. You know, there's something going on there. I just, it just doesn't quite.
Something wrong with those genetics.
Something's there. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think Ronda Rousey's got the edge. I think she's got a little bit more experience. And hopefully, I mean, she's got the KO power from what I see. What does she got?
No, she doesn't. Well, she's 7-0.
Okay.
All submissions, 100% submissions.
So she's a submission fighter.
I let her choke me out
Yeah.
anytime.
Misha Tate.
Tate.
The Taint
The taint.
is 13-4. She's pretty well rounded. She's got 20.
I'd say
Yeah,
so.
she is. That's at least a secret.
Yeah, that is.
Minimum. Look at those abs.
She's 23% KO, TKO, 46 submission, and 31 decision.
So would you say she's the heavier puncher of the two?
Well, she's KO'd at least 23%. I'd say yeah. She's got the harder hitting.
Do they do their own round cards between the rounds? You know, like
That'd be
I
sick.
think-
That'd be sick. But they do it.
All right.
I mean,
Let's take a quick round before we get too sexist here. Who do you think Ronda's gonna win?
yeah, sure. Which one's better looking?
The one on the
That's the one I got my vote on.
Yeah, okay, I'm going with Ronda Rousey on this one. And all joking aside, I have seen her fight, and Ronda Rousey's a badass fighter.
I haven't seen either.
No, she's undefeated.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Solid. Didn't they just do weren't those the two on that Ultimate
The
Fighter?
Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah.
I don't watch that show, so I wouldn't know.
I believe you're right, Manny. You know this.
You need a cable subscription. In order
Satellite.
So I'm not doing
My
that.
friend here has
so
no
we're
satellite.
gonna move on to back to the Major
cheapest
League
lawyer I
Baseball.
know.
We're gonna move back to Major League Baseball, and what we're gonna do here is everyone gets a prediction for the Major League Baseball season of 2014.
2014.
So you're kind of new, so we'll let you go last because we kind of sprung that on you. We were
All
talking
right.
about it earlier. So I've got mine. I can go first. If anyone else wants to go first, speak up or hold your peace.
Go for it.
All right, my 2014 prediction, and I know that you guys are gonna think that it's biased or whatever, but it actually has nothing to do with the Dodgers.
prediction.
It has everything to do with the Angels. I have nothing to base this on other than a gut feeling,
Go ahead.
and it's that they will not finish in the AL West any higher than third. That's my prediction. They'll miss the playoffs for how many seasons in a row?
Really,
3.
way to stick your neck out there. I mean, only the
Well,
Texas, who's stocking up, and the Athletics, who have been a solid team. Who won
Exactly.
the division.
But the thing is,
Way
totally irrational.
to reach hard on a.
No, but you
Right.
got Foles, Hamilton, and C.J. Wilson, who's obviously a number
and
one
hopefully
starter.
they get Tanaka.
He's
And
not the number
even
one
if
starter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't say.
Shut the fuck. Go ahead and finish.
Yeah. Shocker.
You want
Kill
it?
it. So here it is.
Okay.
The Angels are going to miss the playoffs for the third straight season,
Something like that.
and I think if that happens, which it will, Socha's getting canned. So
Okay.
that's my
I
thing.
hope
And,
so.
and here's the reason. And
If
I
he was gonna
think
get
you guys
canned,
have
He
enough.
would've got canned
Here's the
already.
deal. The Angels have enough talent on the roster.
Right.
I think there's a cancer or two in the locker room that's holding you guys back.
Socha.
Nope, it's a player or two.
Pull.
And it's never going to get fixed until that cancer is extracted, and that's my prediction. Not a wild card. I don't think they're going to be completely out of it by I don't think they're going to be 17 games out by September 1. I don't think that's going to happen, but they're going to miss the playoffs.
Okay, so unlike the Dodgers, they're in a competitive division.
Thank
The,
you.
the Dodgers ain't got nobody. If the Angels were in the National League West, they'd probably be first or second place.
Every
but-
year.
Fair
On,
enough. I'm
on top of what
I'm
you were
not
talking
disagreeing
about,
with any
to
of that.
piggyback on that,
My prediction has nothing to do with the
to
Dodgers
piggyback on that,
at all. So
I don't
that's
think-
completely irrelevant
Okay.
to my point. So first of all, that's the National League.
Overruled.
What the hell does that have to do with it? I'm
Right.
talking about the Angels.
so
Stick to the AL, stick to the American League.
are you done?
This was my prediction.
Okay.
And you put it in.
Well, because you just keep talking. So the A's have downgraded this year.
Okay.
They lost some of their pitching, they lost some of their bullpen.
That's
and-
every year for the A's.
Well, and
That's
they
every
make a-
fucking year
they-
since like 1985.
and they find a way to make it. But this year they unless they just make it off of sheer luck, but
That's the same thing everybody says every single year about
Yeah.
the A's.
because their players have that chemistry that a manager and the GM brings it together. Which what we were talking about is that Socha can't bring it. Socha
Anymore.
He used to
Anymore.
be, but there's no spark.
I almost think it was more John Madden. No, wait, not Joe. Joe Madden. Joe
I
Madden.
like John Madden.
I do too. That's why I got a sneaker for Joe. John.
And
Joe.
we're gonna run the double steal and boom.
No, but
There's
I really think that Socha gets a little bit too much credit for what he had done, because since he lost his pitching coach Bud Black and Joe Madden, his bench coach, team just hasn't been the same. And yet Joe Madden goes to Tampa, and Tampa owns us. You match us up, and whatever their lineup looks like, they own us.
Yeah.
You know, and then they have that spark. They play hard. They push for each other, and the Angels just don't have it. They really don't.
They look flat all season.
all the time.
Yeah.
They just look.
So that's my
listless.
prediction.
Okay, so the Angels finishing in third, not making the playoffs again.
Yeah.
and
Third
then
and fourth.
Heads are gonna rule.
They ain't gonna
Okay,
be for it.
all right.
You're
That-
only
that
going to
was
be better than the
bold.
Astros. That's the only team you're going
That's
to
the
beat.
only thing.
Because
All right.
Seattle's gonna do better because of
Wanna go next?
Cano.
Kano?
Anyway.
Inside joke. All
Right,
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 go
right.
ahead.
I would say a prediction for this season for me is I really like Detroit. I mean, I know that's kind of lame to say because, I mean, Detroit's been right there in the mix, but I really think that getting rid of Fielder is going to be more of a plus than it is going to be a minus. I mean, Fielder is a solid baseball player, you know, but I don't think he's an elite type player. I think the way he disappears in the playoffs, I think the way that he doesn't, he just doesn't resemble anything like he does in the regular season, like he does in the playoffs.
I
mean,
agree.
He just
He
totally
rakes
falls
it
off.
in the regular
and I
season,
think,
and he disappears
when
in
they
the
get
postseason.
That's what he
Texas
does.
has Kinsler.
You're supposed to.
Kinsler, on the other hand, Kinsler's a baller. Kinsler, which surprised the hell out of me,
legit.
because Kinsler
Kinsler's
I
legit.
thought was the
Kinsler's
best
legit.
batter in the lineup for Texas for good stretches of
Underrated
time.
and
I mean,
underrated.
yeah. So for them to trade him,
Now, he's not going to hit 30 bombs, but he's going to hit.
oh no, he's gonna hit, and depending
That's
on where
what
they
it
put
is,
him in the
so-
lineup, Detroit is really gonna be a force to be reckoned with. And I mean, Miggy is just in the zone like no other player ever has been, other than maybe the likes of Babe Ruth, Ted Williams and Mickey Mantle.
Don't get me started on Ted Williams.
I know you have a sneaker for Ted Williams, but I'm just saying that I think my prediction for this year is that Detroit is going to win the World Series this year. They're going to run roughshod through the whole season, and they're just going to destroy.
I would
every
actually
team that comes
co-sign
through.
on that.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it's not necessarily like something off the wall. That
In
this
fact,
team's
I'm
gonna come back.
I'm going on the record right now. I'm co-signing right now.
Yeah.
Detroit's. I'll sign that shit right now.
Detroit is just fully
They look
loaded.
little- they
They've
look
got a
legit,
solid team, and they've got a solid.
And
manager.
they're about due.
And Leland, I mean, you just can't get any steadier than that guy. That guy's like 110.
Wait,
Smoking
didn't he
up-
just retire?
Did he? I hope he did.
Yeah, he did.
God
Yeah.
damn it. Well, then I take that back because now,
All that smoke.
Now it's all up in the air.
now it's all up in
fucked
the air. Because that camel smoking motherfucker, I swear, that guy can coach. That guy can manage a
So
ball.
here we go. All right, I'm still gonna co-sign it.
There's nothing
Leland
to co-sign
retired-
anymore, though.
Leland retired at the end of this year. He said he was done. He's like 105.
Shit.
He did retire, and but I still think that they've got Wade. They've got a lot of talent on that team, and I think if you're gonna put a ton of money in Vegas at the beginning of the year, it'd have to be on Detroit. I do agree with that. And even with the Leland factor, but yes, he did retire at the end of last season. Bert.
It's tough because I was thinking that my lock was going to be the Yankees because they with letting go of Cano, what do you want to call him? I call him Cano. And Granderson, but they picked up Beltran, who is solid in the playoffs, and Ellsbury
Now Granderson went to the
and
Mets.
McCann. Huh?
Granderson went to the Mets.
That's what I said.
Oh,
Let it
okay,
go.
I'm sorry.
They got Beltran from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yes,
No
they
way.
did.
And they
That
picked up
motherfucker, dude.
they picked up Beltran, Ellsbury,
Imagine the damage he's gonna do in New York.
and McCann.
Beat the sweat.
Yeah, the minor league
Oh, yeah,
field.
mommy.
All these lefties are gonna just drop
We're
bombs.
talking about
One other field.
But they ain't got no pitching. So
They don't have a lot of depth in the
that's what they're saying. If they pick up Tanaka, they're gonna be hard to beat.
I don't know what's your prediction, first of all?
I was thinking if they pick up Tanaka, they will win. They're gonna win the World Series.
I don't think Tanaka's
They're
enough.
old-
I'm gonna go against your prediction.
Yeah,
If
you're right.
Tanaka-
You're right. Because pitching, with,
It's just not enough. It's just not going to be enough. But I do think they are, because I think Boston's significantly weaker this year.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees will win the East, or they'll at least win the
So that's my
the wild
prediction.
card.
Who
They're
did
gonna
Boston
win.
lose?
Huh?
Who did Boston lose?
Ellsbury.
I think.
And did the first baseman resign?
They lost their catcher. They lost one of those
Napoli?
catchers. The
Napoli
switch hitting
did
guy.
Oh, Saltalamacchia is gone.
Saltalamacchia is gone.
That's a big loss. There's just two big losses there. Big Poppy's a year older.
Yeah.
Although he was
It's a
legit.
big-
Although he was legit.
Yeah.
he's fire.
So my
He's
prediction
clutch.
is that the Yankees are gonna win the East.
I will co-sign on that one. I think he's going to win
This
this.
guy's just piggybacking on it. Everyone's.
No, I disagreed on just with Tanaka.
Oh, okay.
You said all. I thought you were saying all the way. I don't
Yeah,
think
you're
I
right.
don't
You're right.
think
Because
he's
if
all the way.
Tanaka, even if Tanaka gets on the Yankees, he's not.
they're
They're
not
not gonna
going
make
all
it.
the way. Not at all.
But they're taking the East.
They will take the East. I agree.
Okay. I don't think so, but it's okay.
I
Who do you
have
think's
no
gonna take the East?
prediction.
The Bo Sox?
Toronto
Toronto. When was the last time they won the East?
next year.
The last time, not the next time.
Huh?
The last time, not
He
the
likes-
last
I
time.
he
have no
likes
idea.
Dickey.
I have no time.
Did Joe Carter hit the home run?
And Alomar was at second base, picking it, dude. Remember that year? Anything going between first and second, that fool
All
was
right,
off.
Felix, what is your
Felix,
prediction?
what is your?
I have no prediction. I have nothing. I have nothing.
You're an Angel fan. Give me something about the Angels.
How about
Okay,
predicting we're gonna be up at the fucking Budweiser patio?
I'm gonna predict me and Manny have a sick bender in the patio, Budweiser. No, I mean honestly, I think we go out and spend a lot of money again on players that are just getting to the hill, a little bit over the hill. Our pitching's not gonna be there. We're gonna pick up some fucking no-name pitcher that's gonna be okay for a couple fucking months, and then he's gonna fall off. He's gonna get hurt. Weaver's gonna get hurt again. We still have Weaver, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Weaver's gonna get hurt again. Miss half the season. It's
So instead of fumbling around with your dick in the MLB world, let me put you where you're more comfortable. Give me one prediction for the NFL playoffs.
I wasn't done with my baseball prediction.
Okay.
So I don't think we're gonna do much. I hate to admit it, but
Fumble.
Ivan is a douchebag. I will predict that he dies in 2014 before the World Series.
Probably accurate.
That is correct. So you want a football?
What is your what? I want your honest, your
Who's winning
hardcore
the Super Bowl?
I just want one thing that you feel real passionately about the playoffs. It doesn't matter like
This season?
this season. For sure shot.
A for sure shot. Seattle and Denver in the Super Bowl.
Really?
For sure. Denver and Seattle. And it's gonna be a fucking hell of a game too. And it's not gonna be a shootout.
Well, it's gonna be in the snow, right? It's gonna be in New York.
It's gonna be in New Jersey.
Jersey. Yes.
Yeah.
Jersey.
I think the whole stigma about Peyton Manning being
Cold.
No, not old, just horrible in the cold.
Yeah.
Oh, like I thought you said old
No,
because
cold.
he is
If
getting.
they play there, that's going to be a huge factor.
I don't think it is.
No,
I don't
he's playing,
because he played in the
Tom
cold
Brady,
against.
That's when
No, but he
he was
played
always
somebody
losing.
else.
Yeah,
He was always
that's
losing against
what
the
I was about to
Patriots.
say, yeah.
But he played
kept
Kansas
losing.
City in Denver with the wind at I don't know how many miles per hour, and it was 14 degrees, which equals like -2.
We're
And he
past
was
time.
fucking slinging it.
So I
Well,
think
it's
it's
not
almost time to wrap it
necessarily
up.
like his ability to throw. It's just like, well, I think it was more an offshoot of the Belichick. You know, his defensive schemes and stuff.
Yeah, I don't
which is
think
like
it's,
Seattle. I mean,
it's-
Seattle has a hell of a defense.
But it's not Belichick. I think.
We gotta start wrapping it up. We're past time.
Just real quick, I don't think it's the cold. I think it's Belichick. Belichick has Peyton Manning's number. Bottom line.
So we're gonna end this session with Felix's prediction. It's gonna be Denver and Seattle in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So if you're a gambler, put money on it, as much as you got.
But we ain't gambling.
But we're
And I
not.
want to see this V-neck.
Not,
Get it closer.
not
to
on
that
camera.
shit. Why is there
Have a
only
good
2
night.
buttons?
Well,
We'll see you next time.
Why is there
all right.
2 buttons
If
that
you
run
want to call
longer than
in,
the rest?
leave a voicemail if you want to
Don't
get on
button.
camera or
Why is
have
there
questions
2
for us.
buttons there?
The number is
There's no
657
use for those 2 buttons.
229 2347.
Get at me.
Or you can leave us a voicemail at Los Compadres Del Beis.
No tanks, please.
No tanks.